Very, very breaking news. Yes, sorry, you caught me on the hop a little bit. So I've literally just been doing a Liverpool live stream, talking about the win against Newcastle yesterday. I was just on my Reddit, um, tidying up the house, about to go to sleep. And I thought I'll have a quick look at the Liverpool Echo before I go to bed. This was about 20 odd minutes ago. And I've just literally found out, just as I was about to go to bed, that we are basically looking likely to sign, if not have already signed, Jeremy Jaqcuet. Now, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but sorry about the light, by the way, guys. Totally unprepared for this because I was not expecting this at all. Obviously, it's transfer deadline day tomorrow, so I'll be able to do more news about this. Hopefully throughout the day. But yes, we've signed Jeremy Jaqcuet. So I'm literally going to. Hi, Paul, again. You're all right. Yeah, I was going to go to bed, Paul, but we've just signed someone, so I'm just going to read the person that we've signed. Yeah, so I'm literally just. I'm just on BBC Sport now, so I'm just going to read out basically what they put. So this is from the BBC Sport website, and I'll read a few bits and pieces as well. Liverpool have agreed a 60 million deal for Rennes. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. It might be Rage, possibly. I don't know. Have agreed a £60 million deal for Rennes defender Jeremy Jaqcuet, but the centre half will not be moving to the club in the current transfer window. I'll get onto that in a minute. Subject to a medical, the 20-year-old will move to the Reds in the summer after the club's reached agreement on a 55 million fee plus £5 million in add-ons. Personal terms are not expected to be an issue with the France under 21 international. Chelsea are known to have helped. So yeah, Chelsea were in for him the other day. But I think it broke down to something or other with Jaqcuet during the winter window. But it is understood they will not match Liverpool's bid. I'm not surprised if it would be being 60 million quid. Liverpool are looking to bolster their centre back options. Just want you to know you were a bit blurry. Oh, it might be my signal, possibly, Paul. Hopefully, it will improve potentially. Yeah, it is what it is, unfortunately. Liverpool are looking to bolster their centre back options with France defender Ibrahim Konate's current contract set to expire at the end of this season. Arne Slot's side missed out on Mark Gay last summer, with the England centre back then opting to join Manchester City in January. Jaqcuet came through the Rennes Academy and has played for the club 18 times this season. Okay, with a string of standout performances making him a target for some of Europe's elite sides, and Liverpool see him as a long-term investment. Now, yeah, I'm just trying to see if I can see, because it's usually Fabrizio Romano and David Ornstein, so I'm going to see if they've posted anything. Let me just have a look. David Ornstein, let's see if I can find it. Like I said, I'm not going to be on too long because I needed to go to bed like an hour before, let alone now. So, let me see. Let me get Fabrizio Romano up as well. Fabrizio Romano, where are we? Right, let me do Ornstein first if I can bring him up. Come on, David, what we're doing. Here we go. So this is from David Ornstein. Now, if Ornstein said it for me, that's basically it done as far as I'm concerned. Liverpool reached pre-agreement with Rennes to sign Jeremy Jaqcuet in summer 2026. The deal for the 20-year-old Rennes centre back, 55 million plus 5 million. Personal terms expected to be no problem after the French under 21. He had to watch out. Thank you, Paul. Cheers. Personal terms expected to be no problem after the France under 21 international pit Liverpool viewed as key part of team rebuild. Now, again, anyone who ends up watching this, guys, like I said, I'm only going to be on a few minutes, but this is for next summer. Sadly, it is not for now, which is not cool, to be honest at all. I'm just having a look. Obviously, at the start of the day, we were in talks with Charles Gertrude. So he was like PSV Eindhoven. Not PSV, sorry. He worked with Arne Slot at Feyenoord, and then it turned out that he was on loan at Sunderland. Liverpool tried to do a deal, and Sunderland basically said we haven't. From want of a better phrase, they basically said we haven't got enough time to get a deal ourselves, and so on and so forth. And yeah, it was basically a stupid move by the club. Why on earth we didn't just go for a loan signing when there's plenty of people we can loan from around Europe in the Premier League? I honestly do not know. He's just completely ridiculous. As I said in the previous live stream, but there we go. But yeah, the Liverpool Echo said this. One final update from us tonight. Liverpool have agreed a £60 million deal for Jeremy Jaqcuet. The talented Rennes defender will return to France on loan until the end of the season, but then join the Reds in the summer. Stay tuned tomorrow with our transfer deadline day blog for more details. I'm just having a look at Transfer Centre, if they said anything different. Breaking news, Liverpool agreement for Jeremy Jaqcuet. So this is Sky Sports News now. It's on the transfer feed if you want to have a look. Liverpool have agreed verbal agreement for the transfer of Rennes centre-back Jeremy Jaqcuet for 60 million, blah, 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 blah. Again, the fee's 55 million and a potential 5 million in performance-related add-ons. This one's interesting, actually. Jaqcuet is set to have his medical with Liverpool on deadline day. Now, look, I'm assuming if something goes wrong with his medical, obviously this is pretty much sewn up. So I suppose technically there's not a massive rush. I mean, if we could get this over the line so it's done and dusted by the summer, that would be good, because then presumably if it is Arne Slot, at least Arne knows, right, I've got centre-back coming in, job done, I can start training with him straight away in the summer. Or if it's Alonso or whoever else is going to be the manager, at least they know it's done and done, and they've got a centre-back to start pre-season training with, I guess, which is a good thing. So I mean, obviously, hopefully he doesn't fail his medical, but I'm assuming if there was some sort of hold up, then they'll just say, look, we'll sort this out in the summer. So I'd imagine it should go through. Yeah, the Chelsea thing's interesting because it says, Sky Sports News have said Chelsea offered exactly the same deal as Liverpool, but over the past 48 hours when it became apparent that Mamadou Sarr, so it looks like this is how Liverpool would be returning to Chelsea, and Josh Archipong was staying, which I'm assuming is one of Chelsea's centre-backs. The player changed his mind and decided to move to Liverpool, so it looks as if Jaqcuet's for, right, well, they've got, I mean, I'm trying to think who Chelsea have got in defence. Obviously, they've got Cucurella, they've got the other French lads, I forget their names now. Yeah, so there's a lot of competition. I'm trying to think who's the centre back for Chelsea that they signed from Leicester. Him, basically. So yeah, I think Jaqcuet's probably looked and thought, right, well, if I go to Chelsea, I've got like 60 million people in front of me. If I go to Liverpool, there's going to be next season Giovanni, Leone, Jaqcuet, Van Dijk. Maybe with this signing, perhaps that might indicate to me that Ibou Konate is not going to sign his contract. That's a whole other issue entirely. Would Konate also be offered a deal as well with the wages and the transfer fee they're going to pay for Jaqcuet? I've got absolutely no idea. Maybe they would. Obviously, if we could keep Konate as well, that would be fantastic, because then that gives us 4 defenders. Does that mean Joe Gomez is on his way? I've got no idea. It was some rude teams. I'm sorry, Paul, about that. Yeah, so, like, would Konate be able to stay? Would we keep Joe Gomez, who's, I think he's under contract for at least another year and a half or something along them lines? Yeah, obviously we'll have to wait and see about that. Yeah, so he's put here, it is believed he's likely to play more regularly there in the long term, as Chelsea's squad is overloaded with young centre-backs, so it looks like Chelsea have done us a favour. Let's have a look. Right, I'm going on Fabrizio Romano to see if there's any further news. I mean, like I said, guys, if you watch this tomorrow, because it'll be uploaded, this one will be uploaded on YouTube quite quickly. I've done a short as well, so let me have a look. So here we go. Fabrizio Romano breaking Jeremy Jaqcuet. Jeremy Jaqcuet's Liverpool. Here we go. Deal agreed now for June 2026, as revealed. Understand fee is 60 million plus, so they put 60 million euros and then 10 million euros add on to Rennes. Jeremy has agreed personal terms agreement done for summer 2026, one of the most talented centre backs in the world. Now, who else am I going to go on? Ornstein, Fabrizio Romano, BBC Transfer Centre. Have they said anything else? It doesn't look like they have. Like I said, I'm absolutely gutted that this didn't happen during the previous live streams, then I would have been happily sleeping away. But I thought I had to get on at least do something on this. I've put it on my Reddit as well. I'm just trying to see if there's anything. If you type it in, if you just type in Jeremy Jaqcuet. Jeremy Jaqcuet, Liverpool, here we go on Reddit. Transfer marks. I use transfer mark for a few of my articles on Substack actually, so I'll see if I can find out some information on it. Just very quick. I mean, I've only heard of the bloke because Chelsea were going for him, so I don't know anything about this guy whatsoever. So let me have a look. Born 30th of July 2005. My goodness. That's like literally about 25 years before I was born. After I was born, sorry, even. Let's have a look. Transfer mark. So, place of birth, Bondy, citizenship, France. Height 1.9 90 meters, which I'm assuming. Assuming he's just over 6 foot tall, maybe. He's a current international for the France under 21 team. Let's have a look. What else have we got here? Defender, centre back, right footed. Currently plays for Stade Rennes, which I think you pronounce Reish. I'm not totally sure. Sorry, I met stars. No, that's all right, Paul. Don't worry about it. Highest market value. Well, it says 20 million euros here. So where 60 millions come from? God alone knows. I'm just trying to find some actual stats on him. See if there's. Let's have a look. I was going to say transfer marks are usually pretty good from this, but the website's not really helping me. Look, it sounds like this bloke's a good player, basically. But yeah, just very, very quickly, folks, because I need to head off in a second. I shouldn't really be up now as it is, but obviously you've got to do what you need to do on transfer deadline day. Look, it's great that we've got a centre back in for next season, but again, I go back to what I said on the previous live stream. We need a centre back now. I appreciate the season's not got too many months to run. Obviously, we've got February. Well, we're in February now, obviously. March, you lose half of it for the international break, so that's what 6 weeks worth of football. You come back in April. If Liverpool's still involved, you're talking maybe 3.5 months if we were to reach the Champions League final, which I don't think is very likely, but you never know. I can see from the club's point of view why they don't want to drop a load of wedge if they'd already planned to have this fella done. Liverpool are always very, very quiet with that sort of in terms of letting the media know who they're going to buy and stuff, and they keep it very quiet. So I suspect this has probably been going on for a very long time, actually, with Jaqcuet. Maybe that's probably the reason why he rejected Chelsea, because he already knew he was going. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But it's good. It's really good that we're dropping that sort of money on a central defender. But I mean, like again, with the greatest of respect, we need defenders now. If we can't sign this fella, whoever it, I forgot what his name was, the Sunderland guy. If we can't sign him now, we do need to get someone as a matter of urgency, because I mean we can't just rely on Van Dijk for the next 3.5 months unless he's going to convert. Gravenberg, like I said before, unless Endo is just going to be the backup. Obviously Konate is back, to be fair, so that eases it slightly. So we've now got Konate. Gomez should be back in about a week, I think. Then they've got Van Dijk, so maybe they can just about scrape through with, I don't know, Gravenberg, Endo, and Andy Robertson. But I mean, for me, that's not great, to be honest. There we go. I'm sorry about that, Paul. Do apologise. Have a word with you, Cat. Look, I'm just having a look on This Is Anfield. This Is Anfield's a really good website for Liverpool stuff, actually. So Liverpool have agreed a deal. This is from Jack Lusby. Liverpool have agreed a deal worth 60 million for Rennes centre-back Jeremy Jaqcuet, who would officially join the club at the end of the season. Is there anything different on there? Liverpool do not view the deal as fully guaranteed yet amid competition from Chelsea. The Reds stepped up talks with League One side, League um, deal will not come into effect till June. Deal goes for its hopes. He will join Arne Slot's squad for pre-season training during summer, in which he could also represent France at the World Club. Now that is another consideration, actually, because I mean, if he's in the under-21, do you think maybe he's going to be, um, um, he's going to be like in, I don't know, maybe the French squad. So then, what I mean, crikey, when's the World Cup start? Mid-June, so he'd be back mid-July. He's going to need what, at least 2 weeks off, so he wouldn't be in pre-season training until maybe. I'm in Leeds, Paul. I'm in the UK as well. Um, Maybe he's up and running the last week of August. Doesn't give an awful lot of training time, so hopefully he's not in the World Cup squad, because that wouldn't actually be ideal in itself. Let's have a look. Jaqcuet is a 20-year-old standing 6'2", good. We need tall players. Has already made 31 appearances for Rennes first team. Let's have a look. So Jeremy Jaqcuet, centre back, 6'2", right-sided centre back, aggressive ball playing defender, which this is Anfield Paul. He's viewed as a major part of Liverpool's ongoing defensive rebuild, which also saw 18-year-old Giovanni Leone added. This is Anfield. Added over the summer. It comes amid uncertainty over the long-term future of Ibrahim Konate, who is yet to agree an extension, and while captain Virgil van Dijk is now 34, obviously that's a big concern as well. So maybe we are going young. So maybe the next few years Liverpool take the pain of not having a great, hoping that Jaqcuet and Leone are going to be the ones. Like I said again, it just says Chelsea. Chelsea were in for him. This is interesting what this Anfield's put. Supporters will be well aware, of course, of the situation that unfolded on deadline day in September, with Mark undergoing a medical ahead of a proposed 35 million transfer, only for Crystal Palace to pull out at the last minute. Liverpool subsequently opted for a new push for Key in January due to the finances involved in the mid-season signing. He then joined Man City for £20 million and earns a reported, this is Gay's rate, by the way, is £300,000 a week. Now, to be honest, having seen the man's performance this afternoon, and seeing that wage, I can probably understand, because I would imagine Jeremy Jaqcuet is not going to be getting 300 grand a week. I think he's probably going to be getting a quarter of that if he's lucky. There are no such concerns when it comes to Jaqcuet, with Liverpool willing to make the Frenchman their second most expensive centre back signing of all time. So obviously Virgil van Dijk was, what was he, 75 million about 8 years ago, 7 or 8 years ago, I forget now. That's about it. In fact, I'm just trying to see if there's anything else that I've missed. Basically, top headline is, long story short, we are going to sign a defender. And it's going to be at some point tomorrow. They're going to do the medical, and let me have a look. When the medical is going to be, I don't know. Oh, here we go. Still talking about Liverpool, Paul. Let's have a look. Jeremy Jaqcuet is a professional footballer who plays as a centre back. So this season his stats are. Oh, that's not good. His stats are matches 18, goals and assists 0. Well, I mean, you wouldn't expect that from a central defender. 5 yellow cards, 1 sending off. I mean, it depends what the sending off was for, but yeah, I mean, defenders get sent off, don't they? But I mean, if this is his first season, it's like, oh, that's interesting. Let me have a look. London Evening Standard are reporting that we've hijacked the deal. This is what concerns me a little bit, because we've been in this situation with Chelsea before. So if you remember a while ago, obviously we were in for, who was it? Lavia and Caicedo, and we contrived to not get either of them, which was hugely embarrassing. So that was the last season Klopp was in charge, I think. So it was literally about 3 days before we played Chelsea when Luis Diaz got that goal at the start of the season. Let's have a look at what the standard's saying. Don't think so. The Evening Standard reporting Jaqcuet would likely replace Ibrahim and Konate at Liverpool, with the centre back's future at the club still uncertain as he enters the final months of his contract with little expectation of an extension being signed. So yeah, reading between the lines, I'm assuming. I think this probably means that Ibrahim and Konate is gone. Real Madrid are obviously now saying, "Oh, we're not interested," blah blah blah, and I call bullshit on that. I just don't believe a single word that comes out of that football club's mouth at all, to be honest. Obviously, there's the interesting situation now with Trent Alexander-Arnold being linked away. Arbeloa doesn't seem to fancy him, but is he going to be in charge? I mean, Konate might well be looking at that thinking, do I want to get involved? Maybe he wants. I mean, look, he's free agent. Perhaps he could go back to Paris. I mean, obviously, with what's just happened to his family now, if that was a consideration, if Ibou wants to go home to be nearer his mother and his family after losing his father, I can fully understand that. And I wouldn't criticise him at all. At the end of the day, this is Liverpool Football Club's fault. They had 5 years to get the Konate thing over the line, and I know they've had problems with technical directors, sporting directors, and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, they should have sorted this out months and potentially even years ago. So that just is not acceptable as far as I'm concerned. So I don't blame Ibou or the Trent thing's obviously different because obviously to me it's not as upsetting because I'm not a Scouser. Clearly I'm not a Scouser. But I can understand if you were born in Liverpool and then you've got someone that said he loves the club, and he's died in the Wall Scouts, and then basically saying Real Madrid Football Club is the biggest football club in the world. That I can understand why people were pissed off about, to be fair. But Ibou, I mean, I don't blame the bloke at all. I mean, this is, what is he, 26, getting on for 27. This is probably, he's going to be his last deal. Big deal. He's at the peak of his powers. I mean, look, at the end of the day, all FSG needs to do is just pick up the phone and get in contact with his representatives and basically just be blunt and say, what is it you actually want? And this is the other thing, the trouble with Konate is now, like, what's going on with Slot? If there's another manager in mind, would they have discreetly asked what he thinks about keeping Ibou Konate? So, for argument's sake, would they have got in contact with say, like, sneakily, like Xabi Alonso, and discreetly asked, look, Xabi, if you were to be the manager of Liverpool Football Club, would you be interested in keeping Ibou Konate? Then it's very naive to think conversations like that don't go on, because they go on all the time. They probably are going on with a couple of coaches. Maybe, look, I have no proof of that, but like, I think it's very naive to suggest that they're not. Guess what? I don't know, Paul. The cat's knocked your mug over again, I'm going to say, mate. Let's have a look. We are signing him in June 2026. Yes, Abdul, unfortunately. Yeah, like I said, I was just reading that a minute ago, mate. I'm not really best pleased about it, to be honest. Look, it's good that we're future-proofing, because obviously, even if we lose Konate now, that's Van Dijk, Jaqcuet, Leone. You would imagine they'd have someone else surely at that stage. Maybe they say to Joe Gomez, look, have one more year and then you can have your testimonial. You can be gone from there. So maybe you get back up to 4 defenders. Look, if they could tie Ibou down as well, then that's fine with me. I mean, if it was Leone, this Jaqcuet lad, Joe Gomez is sort of cover. I got my new Star Wars hairs. Oh, nice one, Paul. Nice one. You can't beat Star Wars hairs. I've got a boatload of them upstairs, mate. Actually, I've got a C-3PO one, which is very cool. And I've got a Boba Fett one, I think. Anyway, yeah, so, and obviously if they kept Konate and Van Dijk, and then maybe they add a centre back, maybe not this season, but the season after, for like Van Dijk retiring or something along the lines, that I can understand. But It's like we need defenders now. Like, it's all well and good signing this fellow, and I know it's a lot of money. I am not an entitled Liverpool fan. I'm just a realistic one. We've got what 15 more weeks of this season. We cannot possibly be considering, surely, um, trying to get through till the end of the season with Van Dijk. I don't want to keep mentioning his age because he's still peak physical condition, but he can't do this forever. And then you've got Ibou, and you're like, I don't want to question his integrity or anything like that, but I'm just speaking from my point of view. So, for example, if I had a new job, and it's a bad thing to say, but I'm sure all of us are exactly the same. So, any of us who have had a new job, um, are any of us pulling up trees in the last week, or are we getting prepared to start our new job in a couple of weeks? And like, you might think footballers don't do it, but at the end of the day, one or two of them might do. And also, Ibou Konate's got the World Cup to think about. So if let's say if we're out of every single competition by April, is Ibou going to be busting a gut? No, and I've got to be honest, I wouldn't particularly blame her. I know it makes me sound really bad as well, but like obviously you've got to concentrate on yourself, and I don't really wouldn't really blame Ibou for doing it. So that situation needs resolving, because I cannot believe we've ended up in this situation again where we had this with Trent all last season. Obviously, the Ibou thing's not as bad, but it's still really, really poor. It's really, really poor from the club as far as I'm concerned, and I'm extremely annoyed by it, to be honest. Let's have a look. Abdul potentially leaving. Gomez, Konate. Yeah, well, I'll go through your list, mate. Gomez is definitely. You see, definitely. I don't know. I think they could maybe say to Gomez, "Do you want to stay for your last year?" And then maybe he can go to. I'm not saying he's not good enough for Premier League, but obviously Joey's going to be getting down for 30 soon. Maybe he drops down to the champ, or maybe he plays for a newly promoted side. I don't know. Gomez potentially, yeah. Konate, I think it's definite. Reece Williams, yeah, definitely. Shimmy Castle go. I think Robertson could stay, actually. I think that all depends on Arne Slot. I'm not totally sure about that. Bachetti will go. Endo will go. I wouldn't have agreed with McAllister up until the last month, but I do agree, Abdul. I think there's definitely a potential there. He doesn't look particularly happy to me at all, and I'm just wondering whether FSG, a lot now depends on Adam Wharton as well, because maybe FSG look and go, Alexis, he's given us what, 3 or 4 years by that point. He's going to be coming up to 26, 27, so his prime years, whereas Adam Wharton, I'm guessing, is. I don't know how old he is. In fact, I'll have a look. I'm guessing he's about 22. Let me just have a look, actually. Adam Wharton. Sorry, guys, I have nothing prepared, by the way. So I'm literally, basically, I've literally got a laptop just on my knees. So I'm just happily scrolling through. So let me have a look. Adam Wharton is. Let me just type in Adam Wharton age. Adam Wharton. So Adam Wharton's 21. So yeah, to your point, Abdul, there is a scenario where I think Alexis has got 2.5 years left in his contract, maybe three, something like that, because I think they signed him up. I'm fairly sure they signed Alexis up to a new contract whilst he's been at the club. So I could be wrong about that, possibly, but I suppose if you're FSG, say if Crystal Palace ask you for £100 million, which is outrageous, but obviously that's the going rate for CDMs now. Maybe you think to yourself, well, let's say for argument's sake, Alexis McAllister goes to, let's say Barcelona can put together some sort of contract, or Real Madrid actually pull the fingers out and spend some money. Maybe they sign Alexis for 75 million, maybe 60, something on them lines. If you sign Wharton, obviously that's half. If you can get a couple more add-ons, maybe you get Adam Wharton essentially for about 45, 50 million quid, and that kind of works out better. Obviously, if you sell people like Jaqcuet, like you're saying, Harvey Elliott, Chiesa, and so on and so forth, you maybe get another 30 million off, and then Wharton essentially becomes what 25 minutes. I think I'd be very surprised if Adam Wharton's not a Liverpool player next year. By the way, I it just looks like one of those where I can definitely see it happening. Obviously, we all thought Sobersley was going to be the one who was going to have to make way, but he's now. But as far as I can say, Sobersley is one of the best players in the world. End of discussion. If I had a straight choice between Sobbo, Curtis Jones, um, McAllister, even Gravenberg, to be quite honest, if someone put a gun to my head and basically said, "Who do you want to keep?" I'd have to say Sobersley at this point. I really would. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. So you've got obviously Pacetic, yeah, I agree. Endo, Mac, I mean, obviously Elliott's going to go now. I mean, that's going to be interesting tomorrow as well because Harvey Elliott did actually play for Liverpool today. Jesus Christ, not Liverpool, excuse me. Played for Villa today. Now, I went to the BBC Sport website when they were doing the live feeds and during the Villa game, and Harvey Elliott got brought on to try and get the equaliser for Villa. Apparently, if he plays 4 more games, Villa have to pay us the 35 million quid. Now, what I want to know is obviously there's a lot going on. I think this might be a bit more of an exciting deadline day than we thought for Liverpool because if Harv does go, and I'll be gutted to see him go because personally I like Harvey Elliott, mate. I do like him a lot. If he does go, I suppose the other way of looking at it, if Curtis Jones goes to Inter Milan tomorrow, and this is the crucial thing, what are we doing in place of midfield? Because obviously that drops us down to Wirtz, Sobersley, McAllister, Gravenberg, which is fine if they're all fit. One of them is going to get an injury before the end of the season. You can guarantee it, one, if not two. That then leaves you in the roles of Endo, but he's already now going to be as defensive cover because we haven't got enough centre backs. Now, this is getting to the point where it's like, look, this is getting a bit stupid now. Obviously, you can throw Trainioni in there. That's really unfair to ask him after not playing to just come in. Perhaps James McConnell as a young player could come back, but I think he's injured and still with Ajax. I don't know if they've ended his loan actually. In fact, let me have a look at the James McConnell thing. I suppose that's an option. Obviously, you've got Stefan Bajcetic, but he's hardly played any football for the last 2 years. So the Jones thing to me does not make any sense. Does not make any sense at all. It doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, when they were going on earlier about maybe Denzel Dumfries, I think they were hinting it could be a swap because I think Dumfries' contract said earlier that he's not a free agent, but he's got some sort of loophole in his contract or something whereby he's available this summer for 20 million quid. So I'm like, well, look, if we need players, then if you want to loan Jones for 6 months, get this lad in and then pay the 20 million quid in the summer because Denzel Dumfries is a very, very good football. I would be delighted if he signed. Maybe again, obviously, the Frimpong injury isn't supposed to be horrendous. I mean, we've only got 1 game in the next week, so maybe that's the thing. Maybe Frimpong's back for Sunderland. I don't know. Because then after that, I think we've got Brighton, so maybe you can get away with an FA Cup tie against Brighton. Obviously, Sunderland, that is not helpful, not having any defenders. We know Bradley's going to be back, but again, his injuries aren't great. So, I mean, the only people we've guaranteed got at the minute defensively are Kirkes, Robertson, Van Dijk, and Konate. Obviously, you've got Wata as defensive cover as well. So that's 5. If you're going to insist on doing this thing with Gravenberg as well, I mean, for goodness sake, I mean, we can't be asking him to play 3 positions. He's doing central defensive midfield and centre back already. So, I mean, unless someone else can play fullback, obviously Dominic Sobersley has been fullback, but you can't be asking him to do that again because it's taking our best player out of the midfield. I've seen Dominic Sobersley live just recently against Barnsley, and obviously he did that stupid thing where he tread on the ball basically. But other than that, he was sensational. He has to play in central midfield at the head of our team. So, sorry, I'm just having a look at this James McConnell thing. So James McConnell James McConnell spent the first half of the season on loan at Ajax, but returned early for rehabilitation. Yada yada yada. So he's gone for minor surgery. McConnell wrapped up 7 appearances for Ajax, including a start in the Champions League. Yada yada yada. McConnell is set to remain at Liverpool for the rest of the season, despite interest in a January loan move. With limited first team options, he's set to return from injury in February. That does, well, I wouldn't say it changes things, because you mean that would still, your options are still trainee only. James McConnell, who else was there? Steffi Bajcetic, who's hardly played, and Wataru, and I mean, that's not a great substitution. Obviously, we've also got Alexander Isak injured, so it's not like we can be dropping. I don't know. Pete, there's some ridiculous ideas about Gakpo going in midfield, and it's just like, I mean, he did play that when he first turned up. He was kind of in that Firmino role, so maybe you could do something with crackers, I suppose, but I really wouldn't recommend that, to be honest. Yeah, so I guess my thing is, I think I can probably put this laptop down now. If they do sell Jones or loan him, then surely someone's got to have some common sense and say, look, let's just bring Harvey Elliott back. Whatever slot things, that's your option. I'd be a lot more comfortable. At least if, I don't know, God forbid, Florian Wirtz got injured. Obviously, Wirtz for Elliott is not great, but at least you like, look, Harvey Elliott knows the Liverpool system inside and out. He'd be like essentially a new signing with a point to prove. Personally, for me, I would just bring him back. I mean, I'm at the stage where I would even actually bring Costas back, because if you brought Costas back, with all the problems we've now got in midfield, obviously because Kirkes is so attacking, maybe you could push him onto the left side of midfield and just have him bomb up and down. You bring Costas back for his cover for Robbo, and then you maybe just go back to Costas and Robbo for the last 15 weeks, I don't know. But we now can't do that, because apparently Kostas Tsimikas, breaking news, is going to Besiktas on loan from Roma. And also, he's not exactly pulled a penny trees at Roma. So, yeah, I mean, I think Liverpool basically have done really well in terms of future planning, because we've now got Milos Kerkez, who's 20, Mamadashvili's 23, the Jaqcuet lad's going to be 20, Giovanni Leone's not even going to be 19 till next year. Arna does seem to like James McConnell, so that's maybe a possibility. Like Sobo's only 24, Gravenberg's 23, I think, Macca's 25, 26. Curtis Jones is 26. Maybe you get another young lad in. Obviously, Rio Ingamoa's 17. Trainee only's only just turned 19. I can see what it is they're trying to do. It's great, their future planning. It's really good and responsible. But what's completely irresponsible is leaving on a slot with no central defences. And it's like, what are we sacking off this season? What are we doing? So, yeah. I suppose overall, just to finish off, guys, it's really good we've got the central defender, or hopefully are going to get some signings in. I'll try and do a bit of live tomorrow if I can do. But it's really good we've got all this, but we need a centre back in. I mean, if we're not going to sign this fella from Sunderland via RB Leipzig, whatever his name was, then look, they need to go and get someone on loan. Now, whether that's someone like a Nicolas Otamendi or one of the Chelsea lads who's in their bomb squad, a Tyrone Mings or something like that. I don't know, to be honest, who's out there that you could loan. It's like Arsenal just got rid of Zinchenko today. Obviously we don't need it for that sort of cover, but just get someone like that who's on the periphery of the team. Maybe even the Arsenal lad, I forgot what his name is, the one who's not playing at the minute. I don't know, but I mean, this reluctance to putting in loan signings is just ludicrous, to be honest, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens. Do you have any pets? I do not, Paul. No, we definitely don't have any pets. Let's have a look. We need 3 centre backs, 1 left back, 1 right back, 1 central midfielder, one box to box, one left winger, and one right winger. Right. To be honest, Abdul, I am inclined to agree with you, but I think you've just spent about £500 billion there, mate. To be honest, so I'm not, yeah, I don't think FSG are going to sanction all that. I reckon they might let us sign two, but obviously the trouble is now you've got the outlay that we had last summer, even with the money that was saved, plus also you've got the PSR considerations. I mean, I'm assuming we're all right for that, but I mean, obviously, when you sign as many players as we did for how expensive it was, then your PSR obviously naturally goes up. So the other consideration is, which is super important now, because we are playing with house money. If Liverpool don't make the Champions League, then I would probably suggest that they have got a big problem. I mean, Jaqcuet, maybe they're getting in now because they can put it in the other year's accounts, but like, if I think we'd be in a situation if we didn't get in Champions League, we'd have to sell in order to spend. And immediately then you would think, right, well, you get Konate off the books, obviously his wages. Alexis McAllister, someone will pay good money for Alexis McAllister. I don't want to lose Alexis McAllister, but just, by the way, I think he's a really, really good footballer. I just think he's had a really bad season, to be honest, but I would like to keep Alexis. I'm trying to think who else we could possibly sell. I mean, could you possibly sell Rio and Gamoa? I mean, I think people would be going mental if that happened, and I wouldn't want that either. I think Hazel will go this summer anyway, but how much you honestly going to get for him now? What, maybe 20 million at a push? I suppose Gakpo's another, but Slot does seem to like Gakpo. I mean, again, it all depends on if Arne Slot's the head coach or not. I mean, if it's Slot, I think he'd keep Gakpo. If it was Xabi Alonso or I mean, God knows who now, Emery, Glasner, De Zerbi, Xavi, whoever it is, would they let Gakpo go? Possibly. I mean, Bayern offered us what, 70 million euros last year. Would Bayern come back in for him again? It wouldn't surprise me at all. If offered us 60 million quid now for Cody Gakpo, and we had Alexander Isak, and maybe say if we'd signed Semenyo, would we let Gakpo go? I would probably suggest yes, but at the moment we can't. And I'm just wondering, like I said, if Gakpo might now have to stay to drop into the midfield with this amount of injuries we've got. But yeah, if Liverpool sell Curtis Jones tomorrow, I mean, hopefully not sell, but if they loan him without bringing in a up, that is truly appalling. And if they do it without even signing a defender, that is it's bang unforgivable. Really, really poor. Let's have a look. Abdul, is Leone going to be the same before his injury and delays development? Well, this is the thing, Abdul, isn't it? Who knows? Who knows? I mean, I think Leone, if I'm right in saying, he got injured on the 27th of September. I think they've said, and his ACL might be 10 months. So just doing the maths off the top of my head, October, November, December, January. So we're now into February. So you're talking that 4 weeks and a month. So we should be coming up to just shy of halfway of getting back. Then you add on what? March, April, May. So it's going to be 7. I mean, this is the other thing. I mean, if I've got this right in my head, I don't think Leonie's back till. I think at best you're probably looking at maybe. I can see him missing the start of the season. You know, I think it might end up being August. And again, this is another problem because this Jaqcuet bloke I've been reading might be going to the French international team. Obviously, Van Dijk's going to be going as well to the World Cups. In Ibou, if he does sign his contract extension, he's definitely going to go. I mean, the pre-season's buggered for everyone basically because it's going to be horrendous for everyone now with the World Cup. But I mean, like, we could have 3 lads who are coming back in need about a week before the season starts, and then if Leonie's not fit, then obviously this is going into next season. Let's just get through this season before we start worrying about next season. But I take your point, Abdul. It's it's definitely worrying. Like I said, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not saying that we just spaff money at the wall or anything like that, but they need to go and get tomorrow 2 loan signing central defenders. I mean, actually, I'll just have a look because the other option Liverpool have got is free agency. Now, I did this in the summer and there weren't that many free agents. Whether there's anyone available at the minute, I don't know. Let's have a look. So I'm just going to go on Transfermarkt as well because it's a really good resource. I use it quite a bit for my Substack. Let's have a look. So we've got... Let's have a look. Oh, quite a few here actually. Unfortunately, a lot of them aren't central defenders, which is not very helpful at all, to say the least. But right, Transfermarkt. I'm just trying to see if there's anyone. Daniel Amate. Yeah, possibly not. Even though he is Ghanaian and I'm half Ghanaian, can't imagine the fan base would be hugely impressed with that. Who else have we got? We could bring back Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. Apparently, he's a free agent. Dele Alli, anyone? No, they aren't centre backs, obviously. So look. James Rodriguez is a Ryan Kent as well. Liverpool old boy. It's not looking great, to be honest, guys, for centre. The only one, funnily enough, on this list who is now a free agent is Kurt Zuma. I think before he did a certain thing with a certain house pet, had he never done the thing with the house pet, I think maybe if you say Kurt Zuma's coming in as free agent, that's fine. I'm just not sure with Liverpool being the city it is that would necessarily go down very, very well, to say the least. I'm just going to do a filter actually on Transfermarkt. You can have a look at the centre back. It's a shame actually because Zuma wasn't bad in the Premier League. He wasn't the greatest defender in the world, but that's the sort of thing. If you brought in, if Zuma hadn't done what he'd done, basically you could bring the Kurt Zuma in and just like have him as like a until the end of the season. Let's have a look. Reece Oxford. I remember him, but you can't be having him coming in after playing no games for a year. It doesn't look like there's anyone, really. Sergio Ramos is out of contract. I don't think that would go down well. I think Mo Salah would go absolutely mental for a start. Yeah, Daniel Amate again. But apparently he's been a contract for a good couple of years. Yeah, the number one thing is Kurt Zuma, and that look, Liverpool are not going to sign Kurt Zuma. I can tell you that. Luke 2:25:35. I'm assuming that's religious. Need to meet Lisa for a coffee. Yeah, hopefully Abdul at some point. Losses, Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace, Man United, Man City, Bournemouth, Forest is unacceptable. Yeah, no, I agree. It's absolutely appalling. Sober is our new Milner utility man. There we go. Maybe, yeah. Oh, City winning the league. Chill out. Thank you, Curtis. I'm just gonna check that. Have a look. Can't see anything to that effect, so I'm going to ignore that, I think, for now. Let me have a look. When I watch the football, it was like that because of the score 4-1. We need more central defender. I agree, Paul. We definitely need more central defenders, mate. Yeah, look, folks. To be honest, like I said, that's probably me done for the night. So, top headline is we're getting Jaqcuet tomorrow. Hopefully, like I said, I'll keep you updated. I definitely need to head off now because I was meant to have been well asleep about 2.5 hours ago, give or take. So yes, just thought I'd bring everyone the breaking news. So yeah, thanks you guys for watching. Thank you for spending a couple of hours with me in total in the end. Like I said, I might be back periodically throughout the day tomorrow, but I'm not sure how tomorrow's going to end up. But yeah, top headline is we've got a central defender, but long story short, he's not going to be here till the summer. Yay. Well done, Liverpool. Anyway, look, it's better than nothing, folks. I'm not going to moan about Liverpool dropping 60 million quid on a central defender, so it's better than nothing at the end of the day. Right, good night, Paul. Again, I'm definitely going to sleep now. Thanks for sticking with me, buddy. Nice talking to you. Right, guys. Yeah, Liverpool signed new central defender. Everyone go to sleep, and we'll sort it out tomorrow. Right, take care, guys. Bye.